Hi, welcome to the Skies of Carson Valley. Skies of Carson Valley will be a monthly television show that will bring you information about news and events happening in aviation and astronomy. We're going to be covering the Minden-Tahoe Airport, the Carson Valley, and Douglas County. So I am your host, Chris Johnson. I'm the Operations Supervisor at the Minden-Tahoe Airport, and I'm also the Outreach Director for the Astronomical Society of Nevada in Douglas County. So over the next few months, I really want to reach out and try to cover some of the aspects of aviation here in Minden and Douglas County. And so it seemed very natural to start off with soaring. Anybody who knows soaring knows that it's pretty important in aviation, and Minden is pretty world famous for that. So on that note, I would love to introduce my guest, Lori Harden. She is the owner and manager of Soaring and V out at Minden-Tahoe Airport. So, Lori, thank you for joining us. I really appreciate you coming out.
Thank you.
As I was saying, Minden is world famous. It's world famous. We bring gliders from everywhere. So, would you like to tell us why Minden is such a world famous soaring location?
Mm-hmm. I would like to tell you that.
Please do.
Well, we have great year-round soaring conditions. A lot of glider ports or places where they soar are, they're closed in the winter because they're under snow. As you know, Carson Valley doesn't get a lot of accumulation of snow. We can pretty much do some type of flying all year round. Now, in the summertime, we have great thermals. So I like to describe a thermal as like a hot air balloon without the balloon. And our terrain...
Good description.
Pretty good
description.
And our terrain allows for those thermals to get kicked off fairly early in the day. There's lots of great mountain soaring that you can do out of the Minden-Tahoe Airport. People take long flights. But people like me, I like to pop around, always see the airport, go out on a nice thermal day when there's those cottony clouds. So that's sort of the May to October time. When the winter comes, we've got one of two things. We have either cold, dense air, which soaring pilots who know what they're doing and know how to soar pretty much put their gliders away. Because that dense air doesn't give you anything to play in at all. But for somebody who's learning, somebody who's new to the sport and wants to learn how to soar, or somebody who wants to see what it's like and maybe take a ride, that kind of air is great. It's very stable and smooth and clear, great for photos, great for learning about a glider without any wind or crosswind or thermals making the air rough. And then we also get mountain wave when storms come through, and that's kind of like the double black diamond of soaring. And people go great heights, great distances in that winter weather. So we're basically here every day, and I think that's one of the things that makes Minden so great. Can I add one more thing?
Please do.
If you come to Minden with your family, which a lot of pilots do, and I don't mean to sound sexist, but it's often dad that flies and mom and the kids that don't.
This is coming from the female soaring operator.
I know, and that's why there's so much else to do here. If for some reason you want to take a day off flying or you only fly half a day, there's everything from hiking, biking, snowmobile, skiing, there's spas, there's antiquing, there's wildlife watching. So when you come to Minden to soar, you actually sign up for a whole lot more.
You do. And you forgot to mention astronomy in there.
Oh, and astronomy, because it's nice and dark here.
Yes, we have beautiful dark skies. But let's talk more about wave, because that's something that's so famous here. And a lot of people, for instance, you've got Wave Camp coming up, but people don't understand what wave is.
Well, wave needs it's a special meteorological condition, and you need a few things to happen for wave to occur. Now, anybody local who's seen these big lineups of what look like either spaceships or lens-shaped stacks of clouds on the east side of the Front Range, those are lenticular clouds. If there's enough moisture in the atmosphere, the location of the wave will be marked by those clouds, but you can also have that condition in blue conditions if it's very dry. Wind coming out of the west blows over that Sierra Range escarpment and oscillates. Much like water would, if there was a rock in a stream, when it goes over the rock, it oscillates. The air does the same thing. And if you get in the up band of lift, which is just going to be on the west side of those lenticular clouds, you have smooth air that goes up sometimes 1,000, 1,200 feet a minute, which is a lot of lift.
It's a lot of lift.
So you can
It's fast.
so you can basically fly, you put the nose down, you're in enough lift so that you can just put the nose down and fly at, 100 knots and go from Reno to Alpine or...
and still be in a climb.
Yeah, yeah. Gordon Betker, who you may have on someday, he 2 years ago, May, flew 2,259 kilometers in that condition in his glider. I mean, he's an expert.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, and he also did the flight plan to fly up to Rapid City.
Yeah.
And unfortunately only made it to Idaho. I say that sarcastically because he flew to Idaho in a glider from here. So that's pretty impressive.
Wave can be a little bit turbulent before you get in. I think of it very simplistically as there's this bunch of organized air that you need to get your glider in, but before you get in the organized air, you have to fly through the disorganized air. It's called rotor. Sometimes you can see these round clouds. Underneath the lenticular clouds, those are the rotor clouds that you have to get through before you can get in the smooth air. There can also be winds on the ground. I mean, sometimes we're looking up at great clouds, but the winds on the ground are so strong that it's not safe to operate on the ground. So Wave Camp, April 3rd through the 8th. It's a series of safety lectures talking about finding wave, getting in wave, hypothermia, hypoxia, often flying at 18,000 feet. We also have permission to use a column of airspace where we're allowed up to 28,000 feet with prior permission from the control tower. So people can do what's called getting their diamond, which I liken to getting a karate belt. You have to climb a certain amount once they get off tow. So we teach people how to do that safely. We give them an opportunity to do it dual with one of our instructors, and if they're qualified, they can go off on their own and try it.
Well, and even it was 2 weeks ago, Sean Tucker was out and went up to 24,000. Yeah, that's pretty impressive.
That's Sean D. Tucker.
Yeah, the Sean Tucker.
Sean D. Tucker, yes. And he was flying the Duodiscus, which is a 20-meter wingspan, and it was a handful for him. In fact, he's been back several times working on his landings with it because he learned in our trainer, which is a 17-meter, and those 3 or 4 meters, they make a big difference in the handling. So he's been working on his on landing that thing.
And he's such a nice guy.
I know.
Just so much fun.
I know. He comes in and the place just vibrates with energy. Sean Tucker's here.
Yeah, he's so much fun. And he actually comes over and says hi to us all the time too. But you mentioned Wave Camp, and you've got that coming up. You said April 3rd
through the 8th.
Okay. What other events you have coming up this
We've
year?
got, the other big thing we do is called cross-country flying. We don't really fly to New York, but when we get out of the glide of the airport, so if you have a glider that's got a 30-to-1 glide ratio and you're 40 miles away, that means to get back to the airport, you need to find some lift along the way. Otherwise, you're going to end up at a different airport. So the skill to find that lift, to plan a route, to maybe fly 300 kilometers and come back to the airport, generally called cross-country flying. And like with Wave Camp, we have a program that we put together to teach people how to do that, how to prepare for a long flight, how to plan your route, how to look at the weather, how to look at the sky, and then we kind of send them out on progressively further and further away, call it cutting the apron strings.
Yeah. Let them get a little bit farther away every time.
Yeah. And, it's a group of people. We have barbecues. I mean, there's a social side to all this. We have dinners and gatherings and stuff, but we also have lectures and educational sessions. And we always offer dual flight for people who we'd like you to do it dual before you try to do it by yourself. We've got 2 or 3, I think 3 cross-country camps. Everything's on our website, on the calendar on our website. But they're meant to be both educational seminars and a time for people, like-minded people, to get together and enjoy each other. Kind of like when you have your stargazing nights. It's, everybody getting together and, do you call them stargazing nights?
Star parties.
Star parties, of course. Stargazing sounds so quaint.
Yeah, and we call them star parties, and we welcome everybody to come out to those. most people don't realize that they can see what they can see.
Oh, I know. Well, here...
We tell them, come on out, we'll show you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just amazed what you can see with your naked eye here on a dark night.
Yes. Yep, I knew I had found my home when the first night after I bought my house here, and I walked outside and I looked up and I saw the Milky Way. And I sat down and I just sat there and looked at the Milky Way and I said, this is my home. I'm home. So now I built my observatory. But let's get back to you. We'll stray off on astronomy here in a minute.
I just wanted you to feel included in the
well, thank you. I'll take up the last half of the show.
Okay.
No, but so, and events. Also, the touring motor gliders are coming in.
We try to support...
Love those guys.
I know, those guys are fun. There's two, all of my gliders get aloft with the use of a tow plane. Mm-hmm. So we hook you up to a cable, we tow you up, and there's various decisions when you get off. You get off and fly. There's two other ways. Well, there's many other ways, but the two other popular ways. There's gliders that are self-launching. So they have a propeller that comes up on a stick from behind the pilot. They take off, they stow the engine, they go soaring. But then there's also touring motor gliders, which is sort of a hybrid between a glider that has an okay glide and a small aircraft, a small single-engine aircraft. Mm-hmm. These things tend to sip fuel and go great distances, and when they get in good lift, they turn their engines off and do some soaring. So they gather once a year at the airport, and it's grown exponentially every year. I think they may outgrow my small facility one of these years. But we had, 24, 25 last year?
Yeah, and it might have been up around 40, I think.
Yeah, and then this year
quite a few.
They've extended it a day, so it's going to be a day longer. And it's the same format as our other educational programs in that, there's social things, there's introducing each other, there's looking at each other's airplanes, because, of course, these guys have all different kinds of airplanes from all over, and they come from all over the place, Connecticut and Florida and Pennsylvania. And so these, oftentimes it's couples, they fly in together, and I think they're sort of the airborne RV group, So rather than lumbering around the country in a big RV, they fly around in these motor gliders that don't have much of a payload, so it's like them and their toothbrush.
Yeah.
But that's in July this year.
Yep, and it's July...
25th to 28th.
28th, correct.
Right.
All right, well, we're going to take a short break real quick, and we'll put some of that information up on the screen for you so that you'll have web page contacts, telephone contacts, and we'll get all of Lori's contact up there also. So we will be back soon. Hi, welcome back to the Skies of Carson Valley. I'm Chris Johnson, your host, and I'm here again with Lori Harden, owner and operator of Soaring NV out at Minden-Tahoe Airport. We've been discussing one of those important things that makes Minden such a famous place in aviation. So when we left off, we were talking about touring motor gliders, but really like to get into something that is very valuable to the future. Right now, we have a shortage of pilots. We're facing a nationwide shortage of pilots. So if a young man or a young woman wants to come out and learn to fly, how do they do it?
Well, we have an introductory lesson. I mean, first of all, if you've never been up in a glider before you commit to learning, be nice if you tasted it, if you will.
Yeah.
So you can take an introductory lesson with one of our instructors and see what you think. Be on tow, off tow, float around, come back, do a little bit of ground school. And as far as signing up for a program, there's a couple different ways to do that. We have started our Youth Soaring Academy. So for ages 14 to 18, if you want to learn how to soar, we have, shall we say, incentivized pricing. If you're in that program, because some kids find it a little expensive to do. And then also through the Minden Soaring Club, which is a separate nonprofit organization, they are awarding scholarships. So our scholarships for this year have been awarded, but we'll be doing that every year. So we're hoping that youth can get into soaring for a reasonable amount of money and have it subsidized somewhat.
That helps.
The way we do the training is very structured. We use a set of books called the Glider Flight Training Manual, and it is a very structured course of this is what you're learning, this is where you are in the process, this is where you need to go until you can get to solo. That's always a big moment in everybody's life. I mean, I can still remember the day I soloed.
Yep.
It was amazing. And the way we do that is in a series of lessons. It's usually somewhere between 10 and 15 lessons before you can solo, very age dependent. I think I was put into the sport to make it okay for people to learn really slow because middle-aged women are like that. They need to be very careful and they just learn more slowly than a 15-year-old. So a lesson consists of first homework that you'll do before the lesson, ground school, some playing or working really on our simulator. We have a glider specific flight simulator.
And it is amazing.
I know, it's really fun.
It is really amazing.
And then get in the glider and go try it in the air. So you work your way through this curriculum kind of at your own speed. Our goal is to turn out safe pilots, not to crank out glider pilots. Mm-hmm. And it's very individual. Some people take to it quite naturally. Other people, like myself, you have to work a little harder at it. So you commit to this process of learning, and we've got some people who come twice a week, and they'll be, a couple months before they get to solo. We've got other people who visit, and I'm going to be there for 2 weeks, and I just want to be immersed in it. And they come and stay in our bunk room and just, grind away at it, and that tends to be a faster way to learn. Mm-hmm. From solo, you need 10 solo flights in your logbook minimum, and then the instructor tunes you up a little bit, and then you can take your practical. You need to pass a written test.
Written test.
60 questions, how an airplane flies, a lot of rules and regulations,
and
a lot of aerodynamics.
Money, right? Airplanes fly because of money.
Right, that's what makes an airplane fly, money. It's a one-question test, right?
That's right.
So we've got right now people of all ages. In a glider with proper training, you can solo at age 14. Now, you can't get your license until you're 16, but you can go out there and fly around on your own. You can't take passengers, but you can go out there and fly on your own at age 14. And we've got people doing that. So it's pretty amazing. These young pilots tend to be really good. They just get it,
Yeah, it comes naturally to them.
Yeah.
My younger sister, she's working on her IFR. In fact, I believe she's finished her IFR now. She just turned 18, and it just comes to her like this. So I'm really impressed with my younger siblings, both of them being pilots.
What about you?
I fly a desk at the airport.
Yeah, that's what I fly a lot of desk too.
I have a great view of airplanes out my window, so. But
well, the other thing we're doing this summer is we're trying to give people a reason to just come out and fly for fun for a day. So we're calling it the Pine Nut Derby, 4 Saturdays this month. It's already on our calendar. It's on our website. We're going to set a task, so we're going to kind of tell you where to fly, and we're going to grade it like it was a contest, and then we're going to have a barbecue in the evening. So for people who either want to do it with one of my instructors in one of my airplanes, or want to come out and do it in their own glider, it's just going to be a fun day of flying with a little bit of a competitive edge, and then of course good food in the evening.
There you go.
There you go.
The barbecue is a reason to come out there.
Yeah, I know. We do good barbecues. We do good food.
Yeah, I can.
You can attest to that,
yes,
right?
Yes, I can. Saturday, I was out there, and this last Saturday for the party.
For the
delicious
Aquarians. It was the birthday party. In case you missed it, it was for all the Aquarians, and we threw in a few Pisces and a few Capricorn. It was mostly for Aquarians, though.
But they did invite us Cancers out to join.
Yeah, we invited all signs. But you had to, be there to celebrate us.
Yeah, we were. It was a good reason. That's when I actually logged a flight on your simulator, and it's pretty intense on how difficult it is to stay behind that tow plane.
Yeah, I actually think it's more difficult on the simulator than it is in real life.
Yeah.
But sometimes people who, the other thing that we do a lot of is called a glider add-on. And if you already have a license, say you've got a single engine license and you want to fly a glider, it's a much simpler process. You don't have to take a written. You've already taken that to get your single engine. So you have to fly with an instructor to get to solo. And again, the same variability applies.
Sure.
And then you need 10 solo flights in your logbook, and then you can take a check ride with the examiner and have what's called your glider add-on. And then you can come rent a glider and fly. And we emphatically believe that whatever you fly, you'll be safer if you learn how to fly a glider.
And I can imagine that. And one of the most difficult things for me in flight training was doing the loss of engine training.
Out.
Yeah, engine out training, and instructor cuts that throttle back. I want to head straight for the runway. I don't care where it's at. I want to turn my nose to the runway and get there. So
you put your nose down.
Yeah, and you just can't do that. You have to watch that airspeed and maintain that glide slope. But gliders, learning how to glide and handle an aircraft without that big fan in the front, it actually helps a lot. So.
Well, and all I fly are gliders. Mm-hmm. Well, and every now and then I still get on the broom. But I only fly gliders, so I have to take this. I have to take information from people who've come from the engine world into gliders, because it's all I know. So
Yeah.
It makes a lot of sense to me to always be thinking about where the runway is and if I'm going to make it, if I have the altitude to make it back to the airport, or if I can find some lift along the pine nuts and come back. And it's like a game. It's like a treasure trove, a treasure hunt of finding lift and climbing it and keeping your glider aloft. It's really fun.
It is, and I've become so interested in it. I actually went up with Tupper here a few months ago, and I was surprised. I was really surprised by it.
What's surprise? We keep hearing from people it's not what they expected.
So
what did you expect, and then what did you experience?
The biggest thing that surprised me was in a 172. I've got my headset on, and it is so loud in that cockpit. And when I'm talking with the instructor and communicating, it's difficult to hear all the time because of how loud the airplane is. Mm-hmm. The glider, we had to take the headsets off so we could hear each other, and we were just talking like you and I are here. It is dead silent in that canopy. Mm-hmm. Well, you can barely hear the wind outside. Mm-hmm. So that's what really surprised me. Was
the silence.
Yeah, how quiet it was.
Well, that also depends on the speed you're flying.
Yeah.
I mean, if you put your nose down and pick up speed, you can hear the wind noise. But if you're flying slow, floating around up there, it is really quiet. And we can just talk just like this.
The only time we really picked up a lot of speed was when we did the wing over. It's pretty amazing feeling when you look out the canopy and all you see is ground. So, but let's get back to talking about soaring NV and because I know there's a lot people love flying. They want to get out there and learn. Mm-hmm. But and you said before you get out and invest in learning, come out and take a ride. Mm-hmm. So what rides do you offer? Well,
we sell rides by tow height. So we have a 2,000, 3,000, and mile-high tow. Mm-hmm. And obviously the higher you go, the longer your ride, the more it costs me, the more it costs you.
Sure.
We sell, $99 is our cheapest ride, $309 is our most expensive ride. We could also customize something for you if you actually wanted to go fly over something and see something. We do have one glider that can take 2 people in the back seat. So for a shared experience, it's pretty amazing. We actually had one of our staff members is a reverend, and she actually married 2 people aloft.
Wow.
I know, it was pretty cute. But what a ride can be a scenic experience, and it can be, you can kind of choose your thrill. So it can be a wings level. Oh my God, I don't have an engine.
Lake Tahoe.
You can look at Lake Tahoe, and we hear from locals that seeing Lake Tahoe from a glider is unlike anything they've done before. Or if you're a bit of an adrenaline junkie, we can fly inverted, and we can do wingovers, we can do loops, and somebody called it an e-ticket. That's the scariest ride at Disneyland, right? Is the e-ticket.
I haven't been to Disneyland for probably 3 decades. So
what I like to tell people is if you're nimble enough to climb in the glider, and we can even give you some assistance with that, you can take a glider ride. We take people of all sizes, ages. We take people that are scared, people that can't wait to get in, and people who really, I'm doing this. And everybody comes back with a smile. I mean, it's a great experience, and it's a good way to see if it's something you want to do further. But it also can just be a great adventure.
Yeah.
Even if you just do it once.
I enjoyed it. I've got officially 1 glider flight.
In your logbook.
In my logbook.
Congratulations, Chris.
Thanks. I've always, it was a learning experience. Not reaching down for the throttle and the mixture, but just
nose up, nose down.
Yeah,
right?
Basically. But I'd love to get people out there, and let's. I hope that we can really introduce people to it, get them out there.
Well, and I just want to tell people too that we will make you feel welcome, even if you're ground crew. So if you bring somebody out for a ride and aren't going to take a ride yourself, come watch the activity, sit on our deck, have a cold drink, and just enjoy. It's sort of like the boat dock of the airport. Come and hang out and watch the action.
And even if you just want to come out and visit the airport, we will gladly take you on a tour. That's one thing that we really find important is that the community knows that this is your airport. This airport belongs to the citizens and residents of Douglas County, and so come out and join us. Come out and visit us. We'll take you out and show you the runway. So, Lori, thank you again.
And the Tail Drugger does the best French fries in town.
There we go. Another reason to come out and join us. So, Lori, thank you so much for coming out and
Chris.
joining me.
Thanks for having me.
And I'll be coming over to do another flight with you soon.
Thanks.
So maybe even take a camera up and show our viewing audience what it's like up there. So,
okay.
Right.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Skies of Carson Valley. And we will see you next time.